Well, thank you, Madam Chairwoman, and also to the ranking member, and thank you to all of our esteemed panelists for being here today. I know we've been talking a lot this morning about the science, the issues around monitoring, around standardization of how we measure greenhouse gases, and then what do we do with that information to help inform our climate action. And I want to kind of direct the panel towards the policy side of the equation now, and specifically science policy. We all know we're at a global tipping point. We know that we have to take action as quickly as possible, and part of being able to take effective action on climate change requires that we know that the methods and the tactics that we're using to tackle emissions and sinks is actually effective, and that we are making the investments that have the biggest bang for the buck. And so I know we've already touched on some of this morning, but I want to ask each of the panelists, since you sit in different agencies and work on these with your other agency partners, are there specific policy actions that you feel Congress or the federal government as a whole could take that would help to standardize the way that we do measurement, the way that we deploy instrumentation across the U.S. on measuring carbon emissions and sinks as a sort of network of monitoring, and as I said, standardizing the ways that we do it, and then how we deploy that information in terms of determining where to make investments as the federal government in both emissions reduction and in sinks. So if we could, why don't we go ahead and start with the panelists from NASA and go down the line.
Yes, so I think NASA's contribution in this space is really to provide the global, transparent, repeatable, open, trusted science on which policy decisions can be made, and that is reliant upon the sustained support and open process for calibrating our surface observations and as well as our airborne and spaceborne. So I think the sustained focus on having that open those open sources of data is really going to be foundational to informing the policy choices that members of this committee and others have before them, and assessing the efficacy of those as we move along in time.
Thank you. And let's go to Dr. Lim next. Are there things that we can do as a federal government, like I said, either as Congress or in the administrative branch, that would help to standardize the way that we're doing emissions tracking, and that would help to bring more coherence to all of the science that you all are talking about today?
I think the progress in the interagency working group has really been really outstanding, and that is the forum in which these questions you're asking are being addressed. And so I think it's really as a continued sustained, as my colleague stated, a sustained support of encouraging and facilitating that exercise. It's very difficult to pull all these multiple measurements and different points of view into a coherent whole that's precise, transparent, and we can have confidence in it. But a tremendous amount of progress has been made, and certainly there's more room to go.
Thank you. And Dr. Stein?
Yeah, we're making, I'm part of the interagency working group, and we are making strides to tackle this problem from day one. And we see this as a big challenge in terms of harmonizing and sharing data assets. Also, the World Meteorological Organization is tackling this problem at this right moment. So you're asking the right question, and we are trying to provide an answer as soon as we can. So we're working on that.
Thank you. And Dr. Heppel?
Yeah, I just wanted to start by saying that the current inventory that we have is very high quality, and really what we're trying to do is being able to identify those few areas where there's an opportunity for improvements that can help us inform mitigation actions. But what we have now is very high quality. I think in terms of the interagency effort, I think as the other panelists have said, the interagency working group has been really a great place to be able to work on these challenges. And one thing I did want to add to that is that it's important, as we're getting new research and getting these systems linked, to be thinking about having a steady flow of high quality data so that we can track trends and not just a snapshot in time. So being able to do this over time is really important.
Thank you. And I know I'm out of time, Madam Chairwoman, but I just want to add that myself and other colleagues are very interested in looking at opportunities for Congress to partner with the administration to help bring a policy framework to coherence in how we measure and deploy different climate strategies. Obviously, this is the most important and pressing question of the day is how do we meet our goal of reducing our carbon emissions by 2035, 2040 so that we don't cross this catastrophic tipping point. And so I look forward to working with all of you on that, as well as climate resilience and climate justice, and really thank all of you who are working in our federal agencies for your service in this area. You are doing some of the most important work on the planet, and we thank you for your service.